In this video I'm going to show you how to knit this chevron striped scarf. It's a fairly simple pattern. It just consists of 2 rows that are repeated over and over again. It's a form of stockinette stitch, and where you have the knit stitches on the front and the purl stitches on the back. If you've ever tried to knit a scarf with stockinette stitch, though, you will find that it doesn't really work out that great. Usually stockinette, the knit stitches are longer than what the purl stitches are, so it causes this tension, which will make the scarf curl up into a tube. With this pattern, though, we have these special stitches that are put in here. We have some knit in the front and backs and some slip-slip knits and knit 2 togethers that kind of even out that tension a little bit, which allows this scarf to lie flat. Now it will bunch up a little bit as you're first knitting it, but as you can see here, I've just taken a steamer to this and steamed it, and it steamed completely flat. So it makes a nice little scarf here. It is a fairly simple pattern, but it is a little bit more advanced than just regular stockinette. You're doing it, you know, these little special stitches here, but I'll show you how to do that. It's not very difficult at all. So I'm almost finished with this scarf here. Now, the pattern across the row has a little repeat to it, and you'll see that as we go through this, you kind of can get into a rhythm as you're knitting this. But the repeat is over 14 stitches. Now I have added an extra stitch on either side to give us this garter stitch border, which will also help it to lie flat whenever you steam it. So if you want to make this pattern wider or shorter, as long as you have a multiple of 14 stitches plus 2, you can do this. So if I wanted to add extra to this to make it a really wide scarf, I could add that as long as I do it in multiples of 14. Okay, plus the 2 stitches for the edge. So what I have here is 44 stitches total, which is 3 sections of 14, which is 42 stitches plus the 2 edge. So I have 44 stitches total. So you cast on 44 stitches. After you cast on, your first row is going to be a wrong side row, which is the purl side. Okay, so to do this very first side, all you do is knit the first stitch and then purl all the way across the row until you get to the last stitch. Remember, to purl, you just slide the needle from right to left through the front, wrap it around and pull it through. So we are just purling all the way across the row. Now I have switched colors every so many rows, like every 8 rows. I've been switching colors on this scarf. You could most certainly use a self-striping color changing yarn to do this. That would be very cool. Or you could make the rows wider or shorter, however you desire to do it. It's a pretty easy scarf to kind of modify to fit your own personal choice for this. But we're just purling across this entire row. So purling the last 3 stitches here, and then our very final stitch, we're going to move our yarn back behind the needles and knit that last one. Now this first stitch and the last stitch are always going to be knit, and that will give us this garter stitch edge on either side, a nice little decorative edge. Our second row of this pattern is where we work in our special stitches, and as I said, there is a repeat. So first of all, we're going to knit our edge stitch. That is not part of the repeat, that's just always going to be knit. Then the repeated part across the pattern is knit into the front and back of the first stitch. So we're going to knit it as we normally would, but we don't pull that off. Instead, we twist it around, stick our needle back through the back of the stitch, wrap it again, and pull up a second stitch. So we get 2 stitches out of 1. Then we're just going to knit the next 4. And then here's our next specialty stitch. We're going to slip, slip, knit. which the way I like to slip knit is I stick my needle in as if I'm going to knit it and just slip it over. And then stick my needle in as if I'm going to knit it, slip it over. So you got 2 stitches slipped over. Then you take your left-handed needle, put it through the front of those stitches, and then you're going to knit them together through the back. Then the next stitch is just knitting 2 stitches together. So we just stick our needle through 2 stitches at the same time and knit them. Then we knit the next 4. And then the end of our repeat is we finish with another knit in the front and back. So that section of stitches we did gives us one of the V's of the chevron pattern. Then the pattern just repeats. So we start out again with a knit in the front and back, knit the next 4, slip, slip, knit, knit 2 together, knit the next 4, and knit in the front and back again. And then we start over. Knit in the front and back, knit the next 4, slip, slip, knit, knit 2 together, knit the next 4, and then knit in the front and back. And then we're at our last stitch, which is always knit. Those edge stitches are always knit. And that's it for the pattern. It's just those 2 rows. So I'll turn my work, knit my first stitch, purl all the way across the row, knit my last stitch, turn my work again, and then do the repeat across to get my chevrons. And then you can just knit this as long as you want it to be until you're finished with your scarf, and then just bind off straight across the row. And that's it.